Good afternoon, everyone. Today's short-sighted decision by the council has ignored community wishes and is a colossal waste of both time and money. I first want to be clear about what this action today is actually doing. This does not authorize the city to move forward with a closed street or a pedestrian mall at George Floyd Square. What this action does is it authors a legislative directive that says to our staff that they should continue to delay until at least December of this year to come forward with a plan as to how a pedestrian mall might move forward. There are so many problems with this decision that the council has made. The first is this. Over a year ago, council members asked our administration to go forward with community engagement to see what neighbors that are directly impacted by George Floyd Square, to see what they wanted. That engagement was conducted. $2.2 million, countless staff hours, a whole bunch of resources, countless meetings and outreach. And the results were 70% of the people from those surrounding neighborhoods wanted us to move forward with an open, flexible option. It does not make sense to me to do a massive amount of community engagement only to ignore what the community is actually saying. But even if we were to ignore the community partners, the thing that the council members want to do, they cannot do with the present status. They cannot do it because in many cases it violates the overarching purpose and intent of the law. To get a pedestrian mall, you cannot have more than 50% of the property owners oppose that plan. So we went out and we asked the property owners. Right now, 100% of the property owners that we talked to oppose the plan that the council is trying to move forward. I have no problem with the vision of a pedestrian mall. In fact, it was a vision that we explored. But the combination of the vast majority of the community saying that they were adamantly opposed to it or opposed to it, and the property owners that provide the legal barrier for this thing getting done made no sense. The city needs us to move forward. The residents of that area around George Floyd Square need to see forward progress. We collectively need to take the next step, not delay for years into the future. It is time to move forward here. And so even if we were to ignore the community engagement, which the council members are doing, and even if we were to ignore the law that requires that 50% of the property owners not oppose, which they do, there is a statute at the state level that says the municipal state aid street system must not include a segment of a city street that is designed as a pedestrian mall under Chapter 430. This is part of the municipal state aid system, and this is a pedestrian mall, posing yet another barrier. We should not be delaying further. We as a city should be moving forward. And with that, I will turn it over to Councilmember Andrea Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor, for tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Fry. My name is Andrea Jenkins. I represent Ward 8, and that is the site of the George Floyd Square and the potential memorials. I've been working at this intersection at 38th and Chicago since 2000, consistently. So for 25 years. I witnessed and advocated and directly supported the creation of the Chicago Avenue Fire Arts Center, Smoke in the Pit, the initial coffee shop that was at this intersection called Black Eye Coffee, the Wing, Young Huey, Third Place Photography Studios. We brought in consignment stores and other retail opportunities. And then on May 25th, 2020, all of that changed. George Floyd was murdered at this intersection, and this traumatic event has deeply paralyzed our community and our city, in fact. And it's really painful for me to see this deeply divided community now. And I want to be real clear. I'm using this term divided very loosely because after surveying 6,000 people in the 4 surrounding neighborhoods of George Floyd Square, 70% of those folks have said, we support the flexible option that is being presented by the city. And in fact, though that flexible option was developed because of what the community was telling us they wanted to see at this intersection. And so, these surveys were created by very credible organizations, namely CURA, which is a community and urban research group at the University of Minnesota. And these are the results. And so we've spent millions of dollars on community engagement. 17,000 staff hours have been committed to this project. And I want to take this opportunity to just say thank you to our staff who have been working tirelessly on this project for 4.5 years. This work began immediately after the murder of George Floyd. And I think we're at our 3rd public works director who has been deeply involved in this project and wanting to ensure that the infrastructure and the sacredness of this space reflects the history, reflects the significance of this site, and I think that this flexible option does that. It's really painful for me to know that any work that is going to get done at this intersection that has been deeply disinvested in for decades will continue to remain as such at least until mid-2026, which is mid to the end of 2026, which is a year and a half from now. I'm very frustrated with this outcome today, and I want to offer my thanks to all of the community members who have stepped forward and been engaged over the past 4.5 years. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your commitment to this neighborhood and to this community. And I'm committed to ensuring that we get something positive for this neighborhood as soon as we possibly can. Thank you. And next speaker, I think, is our COO, Margaret Anderson-Kelleher.
Thank you to the mayor, and thank you to Councilmember Jenkins and all the other council members and community members who are here with us today. This action today left me speechless because we have engaged, like the mayor and the council member said, with 17,000 hours of staff time. The council asked us to go out and do more community engagement after the last round of community engagement. This is about the 3rd round of community engagement. 3 public works directors, a number of staff working on this. Over $2.2 million on community engagement alone. We never see that sort of investment in community engagement in a project in the city. At most, maybe it's $100,000. And so to ignore, to disregard, to shut down what the community has told us is something that might take your breath away. It actually can lead, and I hope it doesn't here, but it can lead to undermining trust further in government, because we were out there and worked towards an option that would have allowed for gatherings, allowed for transit, in a place where 40% of people don't have a car along this route. This bringing the bus back, having the engagement of people who can come up and down the street and be engaged, that's what's good for George Floyd Square. That's what the community told us. I want to call on Tim Sexton, who's the Public Works Director, to talk a little bit about the Public Works side of the project.
Thank you, Margaret. So just to be clear, today's action will delay construction until 2026 at the earliest. Public Works staff, along with many other staff throughout the city, as mentioned, have been working tirelessly for years to come up with an option that reflects the community's designs. We came up with a flexible option, flexible open option that would respect the need for memorials and events, while also providing critical access to transit, to local deliveries, to emergency services, to commerce, and to residential access to and from, the downtown core of the city. We came up with a design that we feel like could safely and conveniently and easily allow for those closures and reflect the needs of the community. And as a reminder, this isn't just a street project. The street's gotten a lot of attention, but we're talking about critical infrastructure upgrades that include things like replacing lead water lines, adding new sidewalks, improving lighting in the area for livability and safety, and many other community benefits that come with one of these large-scale reconstruction projects. And again, I think the path that we were on, based on community feedback, would have allowed us to start construction this year and complete construction in 2026. At this stage, the best case is that we can begin construction in 2026, but it will have, with a new action, we'll delay construction at best again until fall of 2026. So with that, I want to turn it over to local business owner PJ Hill.
Thank you, Tim. Man, this breaks my heart because, I not only am a community member over there, third generation, but also a property owner and have multiple businesses over there. And you think about another delay of doing something in our community. What I want to say is it was closed already, and we can see that didn't work. It was a perception that it was unsafe. And now that we have got it open with the help of some great community members, Agape, the organization, me and several other business owners who are here, Dwight from Smoke in the Pit, Ace from Plot Gallery, see that the safety has come back, and now we are looking for a thriving economic community. And we cannot get that. With the closed street, that prevents us from having true economics that we need. And if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. If you go 10 blocks up to 48th in Chicago, it looks totally different. The mayor is committed. There's a lot of council members committed, but there's a small handful that is not listening to community. And that hurts us. So hopefully we can continue to fight and speak on behalf of the community and the small businesses, so that way we can have a thriving community and continue to move forward.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you, PJ. Thank you, Mayor, for having us here, and to the council members that are joining us. My name is Jared Brewington. I lead a new organization in George Floyd Square called Square Roots, which is an activity center that will provide workforce training for young adults in the culinary arts and also establish a restaurant presence in that neighborhood, providing upscale dining as a representation of the work that we are doing inside. Special thanks to Councilmember Jenkins, who, we've worked together in many years in support of a safe and thriving and energetic Minneapolis. I have an over 85-year family history in that community, and is where I put my first restaurant venture years ago, prior to the death of George Floyd. So it was a heavy heart that I heard the council's decision today, but it felt par for the course in this current policymaker body within the city, because I've been part of their initiatives where they also ignored the voice of constituents that were affected by the decisions that we're making. So It's not lost on me that politics is happening. However, this is affecting people. This is affecting a return to vibrancy in a community, in an area that has a cultural heritage that has been celebrated its entire existence. And that was stalled with the murder of George Floyd, that put a light and shined on social justice issues to the world and made that area an epicenter. And that will never be lost, forgotten, or hidden from the community. So as someone who's trying to create an activity center that will evolve into the community and involve the community inside its space with its event space, it's hard to hear about these delays. But as a hardworking community member and advocate for others, we just will dig in and keep fighting for the interest of those that live there to thrive, move freely, and see growth come within their community.
Well said.
I'll turn it back
Well said.
over to you, Mayor Fry.
Thank you. With that, we'll open it to questions you might have.
Mayor, why do you believe that there are city council members who are still pushing for this pedestrian plaza when it's clear legally it's not going to work, residents don't want it, and businesses don't want it?
I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm speaking for the city council. But as our chief operating officer said, I too am speechless. I have no problem with a vision for a pedestrian mall. It was an option that I thought could be a good idea, and it was an option that we in fact explored. But having looked into it, having heard loud and clear from the community, and having examined the law, the thing that they want to do not only is not supported by and large in the surrounding neighborhoods, it's nearly impossible to actually get done. And so I don't know if it's politics or it's listening to a small segment of the overall population, but the bottom line is that it's not progress. This is a delay. This is delaying, as Director Sexton said, at the very least to fall of 2026 and possibly even further. The community has waited a long time. We've heard loud and clear from them that they want to move forward, and it's on us to push things forward in a progressive fashion, and we're trying to do that.
Mayor, what's next then? How do we move forward?
Right now, at the moment, there are blockages to the things that the council members want to do. One of those blockages, as I mentioned, was this 50% barrier. And I want to make sure everybody understands what this law says. It says that if you're going to try to have a pedestrian mall, then you can't have more than 50% of the property owners opposing it. As I said, 100% of the property owners that we talk to oppose it, so you can't move forward based on that. So rather than abide by the letter of the law and certainly the intent of it, the council members are trying to gerrymander the business and property owners out and gerrymander their own voices in. They're trying to redraw the lines so that only the city parcel is included in it. For lack of a better word, that's just shady. We should not be excluding the 70% of the community that has said that they want to move forward with an open and flexible option, and excluding about 100% of the property and business owners on that block that have said, listen to us. The bottom line is this doesn't make sense. Even if you're for a pedestrian mall, this still doesn't make sense.
Where did they do that? And what are you talking about when you say they tried to do gerrymandering?
Yes.
I didn't see that in the documents.
We've gotten emails from council members. Let's see if I even got it in my notes here. I don't, but we'll get that in a second. You have that? I mean, this is what they have asked the Public Works Department to do is move forward with an analysis that would reduce the size of the pedestrian mall, not to one block, which was the plan, not to 3/4 of a block or half a block, but a small segment involving virtually one parcel, which is the city's. I don't know how you have a pedestrian mall that's 15% of the one block. It doesn't make sense. If you shut down the street, you're shutting down the block. I mean, let's be real. And so they've very clearly said to us, this is just an email, and we can get you this as well. this is from a council member, the model council is pursuing is a smaller ped mall where there is not over 50% opposition. So in fact, it would be legally pursuable. So they're saying, it doesn't work, we don't have 50%. What they're saying is, we have 50% opposition if you actually include the whole block. So let's find a way not to have 50% opposition, and the only way that you do that is by just having the city's voice answering.
So the people's way portion?
Yes.
It would go on. And that's an email from one council member?
Yes, but this has been the stated purpose from all of them that have voted for this that I've heard from anyway.
Why is it so difficult to do this option, pedestrian mall option, when it was one of the options you guys presented a few months ago? It was like, these are the options, and that was one of them. Nowhere in that document did it make it sound like this was not legal and all that.
It was an option.
Why is it so not?
No, to be clear, it was an option. It was an option that I myself was very open to, and we looked into it. But one, the council insisted on doing community engagement, and it doesn't make sense to ignore the voices from the community itself. But second, again, we now have more information regarding both the law as well as what the property owners along that corridor think. And I can get Director Sexton up here to give you a better answer.
Well, maybe just a small bit more is we actually started with the idea of a pedestrian plaza. So not only was it on the table, it was kind of the default start that we had as a design. And after hearing from community, there were real concerns about access to transit. This is the busiest bus route in the state, not just the city. Businesses were concerned. Residents were concerned about access through the neighborhood, along with the livability of what happens when people can no longer get through. And so that's what brought us to this flexible open design, because we also heard from community that it's important to be able to close down, at least occasionally, that space to have events, to have memorials, to honor, and what happened there is important, but not all the time.
So under their proposal, they would only allow local traffic?
No.
So the local traffic language is a little confusing. Local traffic, in some cases, is meant to just refer to deliveries, to emergency vehicle access. There is not local through traffic, which is an important distinction. The street would be shut off to anyone trying to get through, with the exception of potentially some deliveries and emergency vehicles, because we need to make sure that ambulances and fire trucks and police can have access to any space within the city.
So in your document here, where it says that pedestrian plaza restricts vehicular access to local residents and businesses only, that doesn't mean that cars can drive through?
Correct.
Only
Emergency vehicles and deliveries.
But cars cannot drive through.
Cars cannot drive through in the pedestrian mall. Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So again, to be really clear, we offered a plan up that would both allow for the street to be shut down so that you could have community events, festivals, gatherings, healing circles, whatever it may be, and simultaneously you could allow for continued access to the businesses and continue service from the bus line. The council's plan is shutting the street off. You cannot get through.
Councilmember Wansley today kind of felt like the city's efforts and plan to move forward with a flexible option design would kind of erase what had happened. What is your response to that?
It completely ignores the facts of what we all have been working on and is completely and intellectually dishonest. The city has moved forward to purchase the People's Way gas station. We're moving forward right now with a completely transparent process where we are going to select an entity that will create a beautiful vision for healing. We will be honoring George Floyd's legacy with a memorial. We have spent countless hours listening to community members to hear what their vision is. To say that it doesn't make sense, it ignores what the community themselves have asked for, including black community members, black business owners that have a direct stake in that intersection itself. And, again, frankly, what I hear from people is that they want to move forward. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting the past. Nobody is suggesting that. So essentially, it's propping up an argument that isn't being made only to knock it down.
Mayor, can I just
Yes,
say one other
please.
thing? 'Cause I was in the council chambers, and I have to say that did take my breath away, because from the earliest moment I arrived here as the Public Works Director, we said no one is going to drive on the spot that George Floyd was murdered on. No bus is going to stop there. We've already worked with Metro Transit to make sure there would not be a bus stop there. We have worked to make sure that the space will be preserved. We've gone out and cataloged every piece of art to date, working together. That is not truth.
It's not truth. And I think at some point we got to get away from the, he said, she said dynamic. Like, here's what we've done, here are the facts.
All right, 2 more questions.
$2.2 million was already spent, and I saw in your release $500,000 could also be, or
More.
yes, more could be spent. Does the city have the funds to start from scratch? Is that even possible?
This is a colossal waste of both time and resources, neither of which we have. Now, of course, we could also always impact property taxpayers more by spending monies that we don't have. That is not a good idea. For those council members that are saying that they care about the bottom line and they want to not dramatically increase property taxes, this plan that they've put forward doesn't get the job done. This will increase the amount of money spent, and the delays already have increased the amount of money spent. So yes, that has an impact on people.
Why does it cost $500,000 more to do this? Because that's the first time we've heard that. I have not heard this. What's that?
So those costs are specifically for design of the new pedestrian mall, and because of the state statute that allows for pedestrian malls, there's a number of what they call findings of facts. So we need to make sure that it works for local businesses, that it works for fire and police. And there's a lot of back and forth that will happen, but those costs are attributed largely to the design and the findings of facts that we're being asked to pursue.
So that wouldn't have been a cost had they chose the other option?
Correct.
Final question.
I guess as it relates to infrastructure, you guys talk about replacing lead pipes and all that stuff. If you move forward with the pedestrian mall, would that stuff still get done?
All of it would be delayed, and staff time and resources that would otherwise go to building out the street, replacing the pipes, and by the way, all the time that they would otherwise spent on replacing other pipes, all the time and resources have got to be diverted. And so look, we've seen the ramifications when we don't replace pipes quick enough. This is part of the nuts and bolts of city government, and so this is adding staff time and resources that we would not otherwise be spending. It's adding staff time and spending tax money that we don't otherwise have. And so, yes, it would be a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, hold on. One more question. Have any of y'all been up here in this room? Been up to George Floyd Square, so-called?
Many times.
Okay, I've probably seen a couple of y'all. Any of y'all in this room been up here? I'm asking. And the reason why y'all haven't been up here, why y'all haven't been up here? I'm asking, have any of y'all been up in there? Yes or no? I'm asking a question.
Yes.
Okay, for what?
I came to smoke
I
in the
know, you
pit.
good. I'm saying, why y'all come up here, though? Y'all don't come in here and shop with the small businesses I don't see. Y'all come and get y'all reports and y'all news and with y'all job and y'all get up out of here. What's the reason why? Y'all sitting talking about all this politics stuff, but the small businesses is getting hurt. What you gonna do about that? I'm gonna ask y'all again. How many of y'all come up here after y'all leave y'all little news thing? How you check out Just Turkey, Real Little Shop, A Shop, any of y'all? Smoking the Pit? I've been here 11 years. I'm trying to figure out why. What's up?
To our point exactly, that it's a perceived,
Go ahead.
if you close it up, then how do businesses like here survive? You don't have traffic through there, you don't have flow, it's been closed already, and now you got hurting business owners who are here speaking. Not out of spite, but out of really loving their community and really being financially hurt. Dwight is not the only one losing money, so am I. And we can feel that. This is our livelihood, this is our community, this is how we feed our kids. And so when you have a couple council members playing around with our lives and our community,
Literally our lives.
It means something to us. And so when we advocate and we go to the mayor, we go to our council person, and they support us, and then you have a handful of other city council people playing politics, this is not the one. We've already been damaged enough in our community.
That's right.
And so now we're trying to move forward.
Peter, I want to just piggyback on that when you say about our lives. I'm speaking on behalf of Agape Movement. Many of you know us. We put our literal lives on the line, working with Public Works, working with the city to make sure that that intersection was reopened.
The neighborhood did that.
That neighborhood stood behind us. That community worked with us. I sat on the CCT team to talk about an infrastructure. This is more than disheartening. This puts a lot of our neighbors, our business owners, back in jeopardy. We're not going to stand here and pretend that we didn't have a RICO come down because of an intersection being closed.
For y'all neighbors,
Because
y'all put out
of
there.
what was quote unquote perceived in that intersection. I will not stand by quietly as a black woman and continue to pretend that you guys get to spin a narrative that is untrue. Please come back up there. Please reevaluate your story, especially you. Reevaluate what you're saying, reevaluate how you're reporting, and stand, because this is not just our community. This community belongs to you as well.
So this is why we appreciate all the support of the mayor, the council, and the people here standing with us.
Yeah. You got it. There. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.